The Gaza Strip, a small region that borders Israel, has been in the news lately because of a conflict between Israel and a group called Hamas. Hamas has been firing rockets into Israel, and Israel has been responding with airstrikes. This has caused a lot of violence and has been making headlines across the world. However, to understand what's happening, it's important to know some basic facts about the situation. What is Hamas and what do they want? What is the Gaza Strip, and who controls it? To help you understand better, in this video, we have put together the top 10 crazy facts you need to know about the conflict between Israel and Palestine. Number 10. Famine Crisis in Gaza. In late 2023 and early 2024, the situation in the Gaza Strip became very bad. People there were starving and couldn't find enough food to eat. The World Food Programme and United Nations officials said it was one of the worst cases of man-made starvation in 100 years. The problem was that Israel was bombing bakeries and destroying food supplies. By early 2024, most people in Gaza were going hungry and children were getting sick because they weren't getting enough food. The international community was worried and said that the people in Gaza needed help right away. Number 9. Israeli blockade worsens Gaza's water woes. Before the conflict, Gaza used to get a small portion of its water from Israel, accounting for about 6% in 2021. However, Israel's blockage of water pipelines made the water supply situation in the Gaza Strip even worse. This area already had very few clean water sources. On October 12th, the United Nations reported that Israeli actions had led to water shortages affecting around 650,000 people. Just 2 days later, the UNRWA announced that Gaza no longer had any clean drinking water, putting 2 million people at risk of death. Although Israel agreed to resume water supply on October 15th, it was limited to southern Gaza and didn't guarantee renewed access due to Gaza's reliance on electricity to power water pumps. Despite claims by Israel's energy minister that water was available near southern Khan Yunis, the Gaza Interior Ministry denied this. By this time, people were resorting to drinking seawater and brackish water from farm wells, which raised concerns about waterborne diseases. Hospitals even faced shortages, with doctors and staff resorting to drinking IV solutions. Number 8. Gaza's public health emergency. Health experts have raised concerns about the possibility of disease outbreaks in Gaza. According to the United Nations and Oxfam, the lack of clean water and sanitation in Gaza is a major cause of concern. Oxfam stated that the sewage pumping stations and wastewater treatment facilities in the area had stopped working, leading to the accumulation of solid waste and unburied bodies, which could spread diseases. Due to the absence of clean drinking water, people in Gaza are forced to drink contaminated water from sources like sewage, seawater, and farm water, which can cause multiple types of diseases. Doctors have also raised concerns about overcrowded conditions at schools and hospitals that can facilitate the spread of diseases. Huichu's emergency director for the region, Richard Brennan, has said that several diarrheal and skin diseases could spread under such conditions. The flooding in Gaza has also spread sewage water, increasing the risk of disease spread. Number 7. Rising disease concerns. After enduring weeks of relentless airstrikes and explosions, children in Gaza are suffering from severe psychological distress. Following 16 days of constant bombardment, many children are experiencing symptoms of trauma, including convulsions, aggression, bedwetting, and nervousness. Shockingly, about 90% of children in pediatric hospitals in Gaza are showing signs of anxiety, with the majority displaying symptoms of post-traumatic stress disorder. Additionally, 82% of these children have expressed fears of imminent death. UNICEF spokesman Toby Fricker highlighted the significant psychological toll on Gaza's children, emphasizing the massive stress they are enduring. The World Health Organization's chief, Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus, noted that an estimated 20,000 people in Gaza require specialized mental health services due to the ongoing crisis. Furthermore, the Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs reported that nearly 485,000 individuals with mental health issues are experiencing disruptions in accessing care as a result of the conflict. Number 6. Humanitarian Emergency in Gaza's hospitals. The healthcare system in Gaza faced dire humanitarian crises during the conflict. Due to Israel's blockade, hospitals struggled with a shortage of fuel and had to rely on backup generators for the first 2 weeks of the war. By October 23rd, hospitals in Gaza started shutting down as they ran out of fuel, starting with the Indonesia hospital. Tragically, when hospitals lost power completely, several premature babies in neonatal intensive care units lost their lives. Additionally, many medical personnel were killed in Israeli airstrikes, and ambulances, health facilities, and hospitals were destroyed. By January 5, 2024, the World Health Organization reported a staggering 304 attacks on healthcare facilities in Gaza since October 7th, resulting in 606 deaths. On January 24th, the WHO stated that only 7 out of 24 hospitals in northern Gaza and 7 out of 12 in southern Gaza remained partially operational. A senior official from the Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights expressed grave concern, warning that continued attacks on hospitals and other protected facilities would result in more civilian casualties. Number 5. Gaza's medical catastrophe. On October 14th, the Diagnostic Cancer Treatment Center at Al Ahli Arab Hospital was partially destroyed due to Israeli rocket fire. Later, on October 30th, the Turkish-Palestinian Friendship Hospital suffered severe damage from an Israeli airstrike. Strikes also targeted Al-Quds and Indonesia hospitals, as well as the entrance of Al-Nasser Children's Hospital. By November 9th, the Gaza government reported that Israel had bombed 8 hospitals in just 3 days. On November 20th, Indonesia Hospital was hit again, resulting in an airstrike that claimed the lives of 12 people. By January 18th, 2024, none of Gaza's hospitals were fully operational. Additionally, on January 19th, 2024, the Jordanian government accused the Israeli military of deliberately targeting its new field hospital in Khan Yunis, using a tank to block the hospital entrance and firing at the hospital and bunker shelters. United Nations Secretary-General Antonio Guterres described the hostilities in Gaza and Israel as causing immense human suffering, physical destruction, and collective trauma across the region. Number 4. Use of indiscriminate and extensive force in Gaza. In just 1 week, Israel launched more than 6,000 bombs on Gaza, described as carpet bombing and indiscriminate airstrikes. By October 16th, these airstrikes had resulted in the deaths of 2,750 people, including over 700 children, and left nearly 10,000 wounded. The Health Ministry reported on November 3rd that 1,200 children were trapped under rubble, 136 paramedics were killed, and 25 ambulance vehicles were destroyed. Following the end of a temporary truce between Israel and Hamas, 109 people were killed in Gaza by Israeli airstrikes. The IDF claimed to have targeted around 400 locations in Gaza since the truce ended, including 50 in Khan Yunis. Survivors fleeing the attacks described the situation in central Gaza as hell on earth, with one stating, "Even though that airstrike did not kill us, it destroyed something inside us." According to UNOSAT, approximately 30% of Gaza's buildings, totaling 69,147 structures, were damaged or destroyed by Israeli airstrikes, shelling, and demolitions. The New York Times estimated that at least half of Gaza's buildings suffered damage or destruction. Number 3. Humanitarian aid denied. On October 9th, Israel imposed a total blockade on Gaza, preventing the entry of any humanitarian aid. Egypt also closed its border, aiming to stop civilians from leaving Gaza, but promised to allow aid through the Rafah crossing. Later, on October 18th, Israel announced it would permit food, water, and medicine to be delivered to a designated safe zone in southern Gaza, with distribution overseen by the United Nations. The same day, US President Joe Biden announced that Egypt had agreed to allow 20 trucks of aid to enter Gaza by October 20th. The amount of aid entering Gaza increased during a temporary ceasefire in November. Sadly, between October 7th and December 17th, 135 United Nations relief workers lost their lives in the Gaza Strip due to actions by the Israeli military, marking the deadliest conflict for UN workers in history. Number 2. Impact on children. With over 40% of Gaza's population being 14 years old or younger, children have borne a significant brunt of the impact of Israel's attack. As of November 13th, UNICEF reported that more than 700,000 children in Gaza had been displaced. The Palestine Red Crescent Society highlighted the suffering of displaced children, citing challenges like power outages, shortages of essentials, and witnessing distressing scenes. Catherine M. Russell, UNICEF's executive director, visited Gaza on November 15th and witnessed firsthand the dire situation, noting that many children were trapped under rubble and lacked access to medical care. By December 19th, the United Nations described Gaza as by far the most dangerous place in the world to be a child. Shockingly, more children lost their lives in Gaza in just 2.5 months than the total number of children killed in conflicts worldwide over the previous 3 years combined. Number 1. Gaza's humanitarian crisis deepens. On December 11th, the presidents of 6 major humanitarian organizations, including CARE USA, Mercy Corps, and Save the Children, came together to write a joint opinion piece in the New York Times. They described the situation in Gaza as unprecedented, stating, "We have seen nothing like the siege of Gaza." On January 4th, 2024, the mayor of Gaza City, Yahya al-Sarraj, urgently appealed to the international community for fuel. He emphasized the critical need for fuel to ensure access to water, sanitation, and hygiene services for all residents of Gaza. The following day, the Palestinian Foreign Ministry expressed concerns about the worsening humanitarian crisis in Rafah, stressing that the Israeli government's actions were causing widespread destruction and displacement in Gaza. So this was all about today's video. If you enjoyed watching the video, please hit a like button and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this.